Is the shadow war between Iran, the United States, and Israel about to explode? What are Tehran's next moves for a potential escalation, from direct attacks to proxy warfare? What's the most likely strategy? Get ready for a direct, unfiltered analysis of the Middle East's most tense chessboard, the web of conflicts. Understanding the current scenario, the relationship between Iran, the United States, and Israel has been marked by decades of mutual hostility and distrust. The US views Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism and a threat to regional stability, especially due to its nuclear program and support for groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. Israel, in turn, considers Iran an existential threat, given its declarations of elimination and support for Israel's enemies on its borders. The conflicts are not direct, but manifest through a complex network of proxies, armed groups and militias operating across the region from Lebanon to Yemen, often with Iranian logistical, financial and training support. Attacks on oil facilities, ships in the Persian Gulf, and military bases with an American presence have been recurrent, but usually denied or unclaimed directly by Iran. The crucial question now is, what could lead Iran to a direct escalation? And what would its next steps be? Scenario 1. Direct attacks and their risks. A scenario of direct escalation would involve Iran attacking American or Israeli targets with its own military forces, ballistic missiles, drones, or even its air force, though the latter is less likely due to its adversary's air superiority. Possible targets: American military bases in Iraq, Syria, or the Persian Gulf, American naval installations in the region, Israeli territory including critical infrastructure, population centers, or military and nuclear facilities. Probability considered low. A direct attack of this kind would lead to massive and immediate retaliation from the US and Israel, with the potential to deeply strike Iranian territory, including its nuclear facilities and energy infrastructure. The Iranian regime, despite its aggressive rhetoric, generally seeks to avoid direct confrontation that could threaten its own survival. Scenario 2. Intensification of proxy warfare. The most likely strategy for Iran in an escalation would be to intensify the use of its proxies. This allows Tehran to exert pressure and inflict damage on its adversaries, without taking direct responsibility and without provoking large-scale retaliation against its own territory. Possible actions: increased missile and drone attacks by groups like Hezbollah from Lebanon against Israel, intensification of attacks by Iranian-backed groups against American forces in Iraq and Syria, increased hostile naval activities in the Persian Gulf and Red Sea through groups like the Houthis in Yemen, even greater support for Palestinian militant groups to carry out attacks against Israel. Probability considered high. This strategy allows Iran to maintain pressure, test its enemy's resilience, and pursue its regional objectives, such as the expulsion of American forces and a weakening of Israel indirectly, and with less risk of massive direct retaliation. Scenario 3. The nuclear car, the most feared. Iran's nuclear program is the greatest source of tension. Although Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons, its uranium enrichment raises serious concerns in Washington and Tel Aviv. Possible actions in terms of nuclear escalation: even greater violation of the terms of the 2015 nuclear deal JCPOA. Uranium enrichment to levels close to those needed for nuclear weapons 90%. Open declaration of intent to develop nuclear weapons. Testing a nuclear device, highly unlikely scenario due to global response. Probability of immediate nuclear escalation considered low, but the growing uncertainty surrounding Iran's nuclear program increases apprehension. A drastic change in Iranian nuclear policy would likely be seen as a red line by Israel, which has already signaled it is ready to act militarily to prevent Iran from obtaining the bomb. The US would also exert extreme diplomatic and economic pressure, with the potential for military conflict. Other strategies and influencing factors. Beyond these main scenarios, other factors and strategies could influence Iran's next steps: regional instability. Conflicts in neighboring countries Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Yemen offer opportunities for Iran to expand its influence and pressure its adversaries. Iranian domestic politics. Pressure from hardliners within the regime could lead to a more aggressive stance. US foreign policy, the US approach to Iran diplomacy versus maximum pressure can influence Tehran's decisions. The role of other actors, powers like China and Russia, might play a role in moderating or encouraging certain Iranian actions. Iran's most likely strategy for an eventual escalation will involve intensifying proxy warfare, seeking to destabilize the region and pressure its adversaries without provoking large-scale direct retaliation. While a direct attack and nuclear escalation cannot be entirely ruled out, they carry much greater risks for the Iranian regime. The chessboard in the Middle East remains dangerously unstable, and Iran's next moves will be crucial in determining whether the region heads towards an even larger conflict. Which of these potential next steps by Iran worries you the most? Let me know in the comments.